Unhappy Hour on the new AmericanMedia.com.
All right, everybody, welcome back. It's Brian Engelman. You are still joined with Zak Baris from the other segment. We talk some NBA, we talk some March Madness. Now, I want to talk about this. I want to talk about a couple reasons why LeBron James is the MVP of the league. Now, also, we're going to reset that and talk about some reasons why he's not the MVP of the league. Now, here, let me start off, Zach. I would like to make the case, because I'm not quite sure you're in the bandwagon on the LeBron James for MVP boat as I am. So let me just start. LeBron James is the most valuable player in basketball this year. What he has done to come to the Cleveland Cavaliers, change the culture, change all of the free agency moves, to change all of the front office decisions, to change Kyrie's decision to re-sign. Oh, Kyrie didn't know whether LeBron was coming back. Bull crap, he had no idea. Whatever, fine. Maybe he wasn't allowed to technically tell him, but trust me, the word was out there. LeBron James has single-handedly taken the Cavaliers from a dumpster fire to a contending team to win a title this season. LeBron James, when he did not play for 2 weeks this year, the Cavs looked miserable. When LeBron James came back, rested, healthy, his head was straight, they have been almost unbeatable. I think LeBron James is the MVP, the most valuable player for the 2014-2015 NBA season. Tell me the ways, only the ways, that I'm right. Because in a minute or two, we'll hit reset, and you can tell me all the reasons why I'm wrong.
All right, you can certainly make your case for LeBron as the MVP. I mean, look how much better Cleveland is. Look how much better they are than a year ago. But that's number one. LeBron, without LeBron, the Cavaliers are 2-9 this season.
And if that doesn't prove value, I don't know what does.
Exactly. He's having a fantastic season. The Cavaliers have been great since the additions. He looks completely motivated. I mean, at this point, I think he'd be probably my MVP, although you could go with Harden or Curry. I think you go with any three of them without making making a mistake.
Is Westbrook in that talk?
Yes, and yes. I mean, he's got to be. I mean, with Oklahoma City would not be anywhere near they are without him. So,
I mean, LeBron James' season stats so far. I mean, he's pretty much putting up similar numbers that he's done his entire career. It's not that he's not much different than we know he is. I mean, okay, this year 25.9, 7.3 assists, 5.8 rebounds. Maybe the rebounds are down a little, but I mean, he's a consistent guy. 26, 7, and 6. That's kind of what I think his career stats are 27, 7, and 7, give or take. I mean, is it possible that the writers and the voters are just a little fatigued with giving the same guy the same trophy all the time? I mean, I don't know how anyone can look at the Cavs last year and compare them to the team this year and say, I don't know if LeBron James is valuable, but I don't know if he's the most valuable. Of course he's the most valuable, in my opinion. I don't want the MVP trophy. I want the trophy. I want the title this year, but it just seems that he earned it this year. He's earned it, and it's time to make our case at this point. Which camp are we in? I don't know, Zach. Give me one more reason why that case makes sense. Help me come up with something.
For LeBron being the MVP?
Yeah, give me another.
He's been the most valuable player to his team. He's been the most valuable player in the league over the last. The thing is, I can't say he's been the most valuable player in the league all season. I just can't.
Because of the time he took off.
I would have to give it to Steph Curry at that point, because look how good Golden State has been all season.
Okay, so a little bit more consistency.
But if you look at it, though, his resume as of late, he's beaten just about everyone.
And in some ways, he just kind of goes one-on-one. Like, he can
and
still...
I would say his case would be made if he would have made those 2 free throws against Houston to win the game. His case would have been made.
Funny how that happens. 2 free throws in Houston after getting kicked in the nuts might cost him an MVP. Go figure.
Seriously, though, but that's really what it is.
Because then the non-clutch boo birds came out and said, "Oh, see, he choked. He's
won 2 championships. Call him a choker all you want,
Yeah. Well, you know what? Let's just keep this segment and flip it over. Now let's play devil's advocate. Tell me why some of these other players deserve the MVP this year over LeBron. And I think you just touched on one of them, the fact the consistency of Steph Curry, because let's face it. I mean, LeBron did take 2 weeks off. I mean, it's not a super long NBA season. It feels like it sometimes. But 2 weeks is a significant amount of time to miss. I mean, is that time that he took off from the team, is that something that would automatically disqualify LeBron from other players?
No, I mean, because if you look, he's played in more games than Russell Westbrook.
Okay. Good point. Good point.
I mean, I don't think missing some games. I mean, it's how valuable you are to the league, how valuable you are to your team. And I think he's been incredibly valuable to the Cavaliers. They would not be a playoff team without him.
I mean, I just don't know that we would. Let's say we didn't get him. Let's try to remember what that was. I mean, would the Cavs have traded for Kevin Love? Andrew Wiggins? Do you think we still would have done that deal with Kyrie?
I think you'd be looking at a serious Cavaliers roster this year if you want to go through it real quick. You'd have Kyrie starting at the 1. You'd have Wiggins at the 2. You'd have Chandler Parsons at the 3. You'd have Thompson at the 4. And you would have had Baris at the 5. Or you would have had Zeller starting at the 5. That would have been your team, though. Do you think they would have made the playoffs? Probably not. Would they have been much improved from last year? Definitely.
And you think Chandler Parsons would have been on the roster?
I think he would have been a good fit with his team, but like I said, they would not be in the East Elite. I will tell you that. They wouldn't be beating teams like the Heat.
Is it possible that Kyrie might not have re-signed if he didn't know LeBron was coming back?
We'll never. You know what the thing is? We'll never know.
I mean, after the playing career's over, we might know.
It's also a lot of money to turn down, so you never know. A lot of money.
Yeah, that is true. All right.
You have to think about it like that sometimes. There's a lot of money to turn down.
So make the case for Steph Curry. That's a very popular.
Golden State has the best record in the league. Curry's having a career year. You can't say anyone's been more valuable to their team than Steph Curry. I think he's made his case on his own. He's having an unbelievable year. He's great defensively. Offensively, he's just putting up numbers like crazy. I mean, even Chris Paul you could give it to.
Oh, Lord. Chris Paul, really?
Paul's been fantastic. Look what they did when Blake Griffin was out. And that's another – this is the thing, too, to think about real quick, getting off the MVP discussion, is let's say Durant doesn't return this year. Next year is OKC's last year without him. Last year with him.
Right.
If you're Sam Presti, do you go for that one more year and try to win it? Or do you go and take a guaranteed player in return? Which they've shown they can win without him would be the LA Clippers and Blake Griffin, who's from Oklahoma and signed long-term.
Oh.
Would be the closest thing to get to a fair return. It allows Westbrook to keep doing his thing. And Oklahoma City would have a very formidable front court. I don't know if you do with Serge Ibaka, but at that point, though, how good does Oklahoma City look, and how great do the Clippers look?
Because Serge is a key.
You get a passive point guard in Chris Paul.
Serge is a key player in that system, though. Like you said, it would get clogged.
But the thing is, Blake Griffin's a better player. I mean, there's no doubt.
But then you try to move him for another piece.
Yeah, you could, or you could try to make it work together.
But the NBA trades are really tough to you have to match those exact the dollar amounts.
But the thing is, though, that is the one scenario. That is the one scenario for one player for a one-on-one trade. Maybe two. Maybe Spencer Hawes is included or Matt Barnes. I don't know. I'm just throwing it out hypothetically.
I like it though.
That is the only one-on-one. The Wizards are not going to go over and give up Bradley Beal or John Wall for Kevin Durant. They want to entice Durant to come there because of the roster he's coming to.
Right. That's going to be their pitch.
They're not going to go and give up any of their two significant pieces in order to acquire him. So that's number one you've got to think of. The Knicks don't have the ammo. The Lakers don't have the ammo. You look at all these other teams, who else is in position other than maybe the Chicago Bulls?
Oh, the Bulls.
I'm not saying the Bulls will, but what if the Bulls were to offer up, they re-signed Jimmy Butler during the year, and they offer up Butler and Mirotic. And suddenly you're sitting there going, whoo, and Doug McDermott, they're offering up a 3-for-1 trade and going, okay, well, we can win with Russell Westbrook, Jimmy Butler, Nikola Mirotic. I mean, we could do that.
But they went through that before. Like you said, they went through that before. You trade $1 for 4 quarters.
But the thing is, Jimmy Butler's also an all-star. Butler would be a really nice fit in OKC. I'm not saying that one's going to happen. I think if anyone would happen, you can look at it and say, okay, listen, Durant would re-sign with the Clippers. He's with Chris Paul. It'd be one of the few markets.
Well, would he technically sign with the Clippers? He'd sign with OKC and then get traded, a sign and trade.
No. He still signs through next season. He has got 1 year left in Oklahoma City. He's not a free agent this year.
Right.
So he would wind up signing his deal after, like Chris Paul did. He had his year, he opted in, and then he re-signed a long-term deal. It remains to be seen, but Steve Ballmer could go for that. It'd be a new look to his franchise that he paid $2 billion.
Yeah, it would.
It's the only thing I'm getting is the only one-on-one trade you can make that would be remotely being close to fair.
Something that NBA 2K, like some of the basketball games, the video games, would not reject right off the bat.
But I'm saying though, it's one hypothetical solution you could see happening. I mean, like I said, you're not going to see Kevin Durant getting traded for Kevin Love to Cleveland. Not going to happen.
I like that. Why not? Let's do that.
I mean, that'd actually be pretty cool, actually, to see LeBron and Kevin
That would be
Durant.
fantastic. And Kyrie? Oh, my Lord.
I'd make that trade a second. I just don't see it happening.
Cue the Globetrotters music.
But that's another one right there. But give me any other team in the league where you could see that happening, and Durant would be able to sign with that team long term. The only considerations are the two teams that I mentioned would be maybe the Bulls and the Clippers. And I don't know if the Bulls. I don't know if Oklahoma City would accept that trade remote. Maybe they want to take one last run at a final.
Yeah,
but with
maybe.
Blake Griffin, you're going to be in the conversation of winning the Western Conference for the next 4 or 5 years, and maybe it entices Russell Westbrook to stay, knowing that Blake Griffin's there long term.
Why would the Clippers want to get rid of Blake Griffin for Durant? Just hypothetically.
Because the thing is, don't forget, they showed that they can win already without Griffin. They played very well without Griffin in that stretch. That's what I'm getting at. They played very well without Blake. They won games. They're not going to be consistent in an 82-game season, win 55 games without Blake Griffin. It's not going to happen. But if you're Kevin Durant and you say, "Oh my God, I can go and play with Chris Paul," I don't have to worry about sharing shots with Russell Westbrook. Chris Paul's going to give me the ball every time I want the ball. I can go up there and put my 35 points a game up. Chris Paul doesn't care how many points a game he puts up. He doesn't. You watch him all the time. He's a distributor. He's not a shoot-first guy. Russell Westbrook's a shoot-first guy. That's why it sometimes clashes with Durant.
Interesting. Yeah,
I think like I said, I think it's the only trade that makes sense if Oklahoma City were to even consider it. Because it makes too much sense because, okay, what do we get at? Blake Griffin is from Oklahoma. He's from Oklahoma City.
He's the hometown kid, and he signed long-term versus rolling the dice to get nothing in return like the Cavs and LeBron. Nothing in return.
It's too much of a risk. Yeah, you have that 1 year to go for a title, but you're looking at, can we win the title with Golden State?
Is Oklahoma City ever going to get another marquee player like that unless they utilize the top potential they have with Durant while he's still here?
Exactly.
You're not going to lure a lot of top-notch free agents to OKC just
Although I
because.
think the Clippers would be the favorites in the West with Durant, DeAndre Jordan, and Chris Paul. That team would be scary, scary good, and it'd be fun as hell to watch.
Oh, instead of DeAndre Jordan, I thought you were going to say Deion Waiters. Like they're going to make that happen. Throw him in.
Deion Waiters too.
Yeah, we'll give you KD, but you got to take Deion Waiters. Who's a bum?
I mean, it just remains to be seen, but that is the only way I can see Oklahoma City making that trade.
That's
is
interesting.
Because of what they get in return. They're getting instant help and from a guy that's from Oklahoma that would probably stay there long term, and he's signed for the next 3 or 4 years.
All right, that's a good point. I haven't really heard that one. I haven't seen that one. It hasn't been on my radar thus far. But now I kind of.
It's just something to think about in the future. Because
that's all.
It's the one trade. I think Stan Presti's too stubborn to trade Kevin Durant. But at the same time, he traded Harden when he had a year left on his deal. I don't think he's afraid to make a trade. I mean, that one, I don't know how well it would blow over with the franchise, but I can tell you it'd be a home run in Clipperland. I'll tell you they'd do that in a second because it would pull all eyes off of the LA Lakers.
Man, the Lakers, what the heck are they doing?
Who would even be talking about the LA Lakers if they make that trade? I can tell you right now, when Chris Paul joined the Clippers, it had started turning in LA. I remember it. Everybody was going nuts for Chris Paul in LA. It was pretty cool to see. I can tell you right now, Laker fans would be bitter as can be, too. And that's Steve Ballmer's goal, too, to bring in superstar power into the Clippers franchise and be able to rock them and make the Lakers irrelevant for the time being. It will be tough, but if they can do it, they'll be the number one team in LA for the time being.
All right, so
LA has no way to match that.
All right, then let's get back to our original question here and wrap this segment up. Make your case for, okay, I guess you made one for Steph Curry. Make your case for Harden.
Harden's he's been fantastic this season. Look, I mean, Dwight Howard's missed significant time. The Rockets aren't losing. I mean, it really feels like they don't even miss him much. They've been so good without him. So, I mean, James Harden, he's leading the league in scoring. I mean, he's really doing it all defensively. I mean, he gets assists, he gets rebounds. I mean, he's all over the place. He's constantly at the line. I mean, I think Harden makes his case. Although I don't love James Harden.
What don't you like about his game?
He went to Arizona State.
Oh, jeez, there you go. That's all it is.
I think Harden's a great player. Trust me, I wanted him on the Cavs a few years ago so badly.
Yeah.
When Oklahoma City was looking to trade him, and you could have given up the fourth pick, and you could have given up maybe Varejao and another piece. Ooh.
Was that even on the table, though? I remember talking about that one.
Sam Presti, from what I understand, Sam Presti never considered any other options other than the trade to Houston. He did not want to make it a well-known trade that Harden was on the block. Houston had proposed a trade. Presti took it before, I really think, comparing other offers. Because I can tell you right then and there, Chris Grant would have paired up Kyrie and Harden in a second.
That's right. I remember you telling me that it was something really quick. It was a late night phone call kind of deal. Hey, you want this?
That's exactly what
Done.
it was. It was not something that dragged out. It was not a process here. Laid the players out on the table and went bam, the swap was made, trade was made. Because the thing is, what they could have gotten for Harden was a lot more than that. And I think Presti panicked because he didn't want to make it known that Harden was on the block.
Interesting. Okay. Then I guess we've talked about Curry. We've talked about Harden. Make your case for Westbrook. I guess, we kind of did with KD being out.
Russell Westbrook's there. He's a video game. He's a video game player. Look what he's been doing. He's been putting up triple-doubles almost every night. The guy's taking 35, 40 shots a night. He's putting the team on his back. I mean, who would you rather have shooting the ball 35 times, him or Deion Waiters?
I love how often we talk about Deion Waiters. How's he doing over in OKC?
He's been terrible. He's actually been terrible.
Because I remember when he first got over there, he was putting up very similar numbers, but it's devolved.
He's been worse in OKC than he's been in Cleveland. Much worse.
So who would you rather
he was
have?
Bad in Cleveland. He's been very bad.
Who else in the league? I don't know. You might rather have Steph Curry taking 25 shots. Who else?
Oh, another
LeBron.
That's the thing. Curry. That's the thing. Is right up there. Like I said, again, I cannot wait to see next NBA offseason just to see what happens. Honestly, the MVP. LeBron doesn't win it. I don't think he's going to be too hurt. What does he have? 4 MVPs?
I think he wants the title. Let's just worry about the title.
I think that's all he cares about at this point is winning a hometown title for his team. That'll trump anything. Nobody will give a flying whatever in 10 years if LeBron won the MVP. But in 10 years from now, if the Cavaliers win a championship this year, people will still be talking about it.
It's something that they would make a movie out of, just like I think they're going to with the Ohio State Buckeyes this year with just the way that they won the title, all the adversity they had to overcome, the suicide of Costa Cara.
That is the most overused word in sports, adversity. Although Ohio State really did have to overcome
3 quarterbacks.
This
This time it actually makes sense. You're on your 3rd string.
Yes,
I ain't come to play school.
Yes, I get that. I get. But every time I hear a guy go, "Oh, we overcame so much adversity," I'm like, "Oh, shut up! You don't even know what the word means."
He had a tough shot to make, and he made it. He overcame adversity. No, man. How about 3rd-string quarterback that never saw any reps? That's adversity going up against the big boys.
It's one of the few times you can actually use the word.
Exactly. No, I'll give you that. This is one of the few times with the Ohio State Buckeyes that you can actually say adversity, and it makes sense. Okay, that's fair. And I guess, are there any dark horse candidates? Who would you give special mention to in the MVP Because I said Kyrie should be
earlier
in
this
the.
year, if he would have gotten injured, I would have said Jimmy Butler would have been a nice candidate.
Okay.
Um,
And I'm talking honorable mentions at this point. People that were really good, and we'll see where it goes next year.
I mean, Marcus Gasol's been very good. You can say Klay Thompson. It's tough to say. It really is. I mean, look at Lillard and Aldridge for Portland. You know, they've been struggling lately, it seems like. But, you know, look how valuable Aldridge has been to the Blazers this season.
Right.
He's going to be a free agent at the end of the year. I think he stays in Portland, but wow, is he going to be coveted? He is such a fantastic player.
Hold on. It's guaranteed that he's staying in Portland, or we think he is?
No, I said I think he's going to. I mean,
okay.
He's a free agent. I personally think he's going to. I could be completely wrong.
And when does all that money come out? All that new money, is that this offseason or the next offseason?
It's coming with this and the next offseason.
Oh, two doses. Okay.
The cap's looking to increase to potentially $90 million next year, then $105 the year after that.
Whoa, hold on. Wait, increase by 90 or to 90?
No, up to $90 million,
yeah.
and then the next year up to $105 million.
So that's a total of how much? How many millions of an increase? I thought I saw 42 million. I don't know if I had that number
It's
right.
something crazy like that, yeah. And if that's the case, these guys are in line for a lot more. Although I think Aldridge is a really good. I don't think Portland will ever win a championship with their current roster. It's a shame because they're a very good team. I just don't think they're good enough to win it all. I don't. I think they're a very good team who's not good enough to win it all.
And so what's that going to mean to a player like LeBron and a role player like Dellavedova as far as what their contracts will see? Is it all going to go to that?
Dellavedova's you won't see anything of a major increase. He'll be lucky to play in the NBA in a few years.
Well,
you know?
I mean, I'm saying
LeBron
for like the
will
minimum
get whatever
guy.
The max will be.
Well,
if the max is $36 million a year, LeBron is a $36 million a year player. There's no doubt. I mean, Forbes did the calculations a few years ago, judging what each player is worth to their team. LeBron, I remember back in 2007 or 2008, was worth $49 million to the Cavaliers. $49 million.
Whew. That's a. Well, I'll tell you what. Ask any of the bar owners or the waitresses or the cooks or people in those restaurants around downtown in the past 4 years. How much was he worth?
Ask the security guards. Ask the people working at Quicken Loans Arena.
Exactly. The janitors,
the people working in the team shop that get commission from their sales.
Yep, the people in the warehouse that are stocking all the gear and the merchandise, the drivers, of course. Which is why you said last week, or whenever the heck we were talking about it, when LA gets a team and builds a new stadium, I mean, it really does generate a whole lot for the city.
Which is why they should build a stadium in downtown, because downtown LA sucks. It's one of the 4 largest downtowns in the country, 5 largest downtowns in the country.
LA Live is nice now. We talked about that.
It might not look like that because all the buildings are literally bunched up together and there's no spacing in downtown LA. Whoever designed downtown LA and spaced it did a terrible job. All the buildings are clustered right on top of it.
But I don't think it's that anybody designed it. I think if we were to go colonize Mars,
it's a layout. Yeah.
And we could start from scratch, that's one thing. But when you start off in the 1920s and you got like buggies and stuff, and you got dirt roads in Hollywood, and then all these things start, it just kind of grows how it grows. It's not like it was designed that way.
Yeah, I know.
I know you know. I'm just
saying, though.
Trying to think it through, too. Because it's an interesting concept.
But if you look at it with the way downtown LA is growing, I mean, there seems to be there's a new tower going up every day. I mean, it's growing it's literally going up. I mean, I can't picture it. Look at Miami's skyline. Take a look at Miami 1990 compared to 2015, and look where Miami's skyline is now, and look where Miami's skyline is going to be. Miami's turning into Chicago of the South.
Really?
Go take a look at Miami's skyline 2015. Look at all the new projects they have down there too. I mean, every time I go to Miami, there's new 40, 50-story condos going up all the time, office towers. Miami has a huge skyline. People just don't realize how big it is.
All right.
It's continuous. It goes on for miles. And you look at that one, Miami's growing too. LA, the biggest thing they need downtown is more entertainment. People don't want to, it's cheaper to live there right now compared to other areas.
Yeah, easy listeners in Ohio and throughout the rest of the world. Cheaper or cheap is a very relative term when we're talking in LA. It's pretty ridiculous.
Here's the thing. When you have the ability, though, to push out Skid Row from where it is now and gentrify the area, what better than a football stadium, bars, and restaurants to do that, and apartments and hotels?
Hey.
It pushes out all the slums and Skid Row. I mean, you have an area of the city actually called Skid Row. Think about that for a second. I mean, Skid Row. Listen to the name of it.
That was one of my favorite bands growing up.
I'm saying it is a terrible area. It is arguably the most dangerous area in the country. It's one of the few places in LA living there I never even went to.
Yeah, LA's such a weird place. So many different little bits and pieces. Like Malibu's not LA, but it's LA, and San Diego and Long Beach aren't LA, but they're LA, and the Valley's not LA, and Inland Empire, but it's like the whole Southern California experience. I don't know. It's a very interesting place.
Like I said, in my time of living in LA, I mean, I was everywhere, whether it was the Palisades, Malibu, Ventura, you name it, any part of the Valley. I worked in the Valley. I mean, any part of the city I was very, very familiar with. I knew how to get everywhere. The one area I never cared about learning, and I still knew it just because I had a very good sense of direction, was downtown. And south of downtown, I didn't care about Commerce. Commerce was one of the few areas I never really knew. It's all a bunch of warehouses down there in Skid Row. Those are the two areas I just never had any reason to go.
Yeah, not a lot. Nope. There would not be a lot of reasons there. I'm with you.
They weren't my kind of people. It wasn't the kind of area I wanted to live in. LA has all great shopping, great restaurants, places to walk everywhere. You don't have that in downtown, and that's the thing. When you build a stadium, I can safely say, living across the street from Quicken Loans Arena and Progressive Field, look at all the new bars that have opened. They're building a 54-story tower and a 25-story tower with a 5-story bridge over them right in that Quicken Loans Arena area off of East 4th Street because the area is gentrifying so much because of all the traffic there, because of all the foot traffic. It's just how it is. Look at all these areas and cities. Look in St. Louis, in Ballpark Village in St. Louis. That area over there, it was by Old Busch Stadium. Downtown St. Louis is a dead zone for years. I mean, it still really is. But you have an area that's blowing up because of a new stadium.
And I remember going to Anheuser-Busch years ago with my band. We played got second place in a battle of the bands down there, and then played another show. But I just remember taking the tour of Anheuser-Busch. I just remember, like, holy crap, this is an entire city. And holy crap, this is so clean and neat and well managed. Wow. Just absolutely blown away by it. You can go to similar. No, I'll give you that, and we'll see how it all shakes out. I mean, the news was all hot and heavy about getting these teams to Los Angeles a couple weeks ago, and now it just all went dead and cold. And
I mean, as of today, if you've been looking at it, they're saying the most likely scenario is the Chargers stay in San Diego, the Rams go to LA, and the Raiders move to St. Louis.
To St. Louis, the Raiders?
That's the likeliest scenario today, reported by Albert Breer from NFL.
Yeah, that's what they need after Ferguson. That's what they need after Ferguson. Bring the Raiders in.
Yeah, a class
come on.
The Raiders without involving gang activity.
Okay. Nope. I'm sorry. As commissioner of this radio show, The Unhappy Hour, I'm going to veto that. I think the Raiders should stay in They should stay in California, whether it's... No, I like them up in Oakland. I think they should stay up in Oakland. Just stay there. I don't want them in LA.
The problem is they don't have the support.
They sell out.
No, they don't.
Yeah, they do.
No, they don't. They don't even get close to sellouts up in Oakland.
Hang on.
Oakland's led the league in blackouts the last 15 years.
How do I search this?
How
many
NFL attendance? They had the lowest attendance in the league. By far.
5 teams.
They've had more blackouts than any other team in the league, more than Jacksonville. The Raiders don't even get close to selling out their games. They don't even get close.
Really?
Hell yeah. They've had the worst attendance in the league.
I don't know. I went there once, and I'll never go back. That's all I can personally say from my experience. I don't know how to search for this, and I don't care that much.
2014 NFL attendance.
Here's. Well, hold on. If you pulled it up, pull it up and talk, because the top commenter on this story. Hold on. I'm going to get to this after this break, and then we're going to wrap this up, talk some football. It says, NFL to suspend the TV blackout policy. Goes through the story, and then the top comment says, great news for Raider fans. Then this guy says, actually, get get your facts straight. The Raiders have loyal fans, and they haven't been blacked out in 3 years, bud. And then the other guy says, yeah, I'm thinking more Jacksonville. And then the other guy says, so the only blackout will be Bernard Pierce's before he tries to drive home. And then that was the joke.
The Raiders averaged 50,000 fans a game in 2013, 80% attendance, lowest in the league.
Oh, there you go. Then you need to comment. You need to comment on this story.
Also they had. Hold on, I can find out right now. In 2013, they had the league's lowest attendance. 2012.
How about 14?
32nd, they averaged 54,000 fans. They again 86% lowest in the NFL.
Wow. Okay. Well, then I think you might be onto something here. You need to set this guy's facts straight. This Gabriel Anthony said the Raiders haven't been blacked out in 3 years.
The Raiders had to reduce seating capacity a year ago because they were last in the league in attendance.
Okay. So you see that? Okay.
They reduced it by 10,000
on the record
in 2013 to avoid television blackouts.
Oh, that's ridiculous. Wow. Okay. I don't want to see him in Ferguson. I think the Raiders and Ferguson should stay at least 2,000 miles apart. Just for the record. So, okay. Let's pause on that fine point, and we'll see, because obviously, we're just talking hearsay and speculation. I mean, if it turns out that Oakland Raiders end up going to the St. Louis and St. Louis Rams go to L.A., we'll see how it shakes out, but until we have a little bit more, we'll pause on that. Speaking of pause, we're going to come back. Report has Johnny Manziel coming out of rehab in early April. We have no compensatory picks for the Cleveland Browns because we signed Dwayne Bowe. Jimmy Haslam might sell the Cleveland Browns so that he can buy the Tennessee Titans because he's from Tennessee. And, what was the other one? Oh, Hard Knocks. Yeah, Cleveland Browns kind of the front runner for Hard Knocks, and it's an interesting story to think about. I'll read you the first paragraph here and we can discuss it. But yeah, those blackout rules just make a whole bunch of sense. Like, if you can't afford health insurance, we'll fine you. And if a city can't get excitement for their team, let's black them out so fewer people will care about that team. It just seems counterproductive. It doesn't seem like that's going to help generate buzz for your team by blacking them out. I get the point. But in this day of HD TV and DUIs, a lot of people are choosing to stay home. It doesn't mean you don't support your team. It just, it is what it is. So we'll pause for just a second. Make sure you're following Zach on Twitter. He's at Zbaris. That's ZBARIS. And my name's Brian. This is the Unhappy Hour, and we'll be right back in just a moment, folks.
It's the Unhappy Hour.
You are listening to the New American Media.